on Sailing Kittiwake, we sailed the beautiful northern coast of Ibiza, one of the wildest and most rugged coastlines we've seen. In this episode, we leave Ibiza for Majorca, enjoying some fast beam reach sailing and catching our first big fish of the Med. Sleepless night. We had a lovely night yesterday with our boat neighbours. They took us out for dinner, which was so lovely, and just exchanged sailing stories as you usually do with other cruisers. It was a really lovely night, and the wind picked up a bit in the night and it's not from a great direction, so we're gonna move along to a different cala called Cala des Fornes or something similar. It's about 6 nautical miles away, so really easy and fast to get there, and it should be an even better spot to start our crossing to Majorca tomorrow. So it's not a super comfy ride today. The seas are quite choppy and the waves are quite confused as well, so the sail is kind of struggling to set a bit, so we're trying to help it a bit with a tiny bit of engine on sort of tick over. The coastline looks pretty stunning, and I'm quite excited to get to the new protected cala. It should be really well protected from these northwesterly winds, maybe west-northwest. And on Google Maps it looks like it's really wild, there's no buildings or anything around it, so I'm really excited for that after this British party town type place. Like there are 2 buildings, but it looks incredible, and we read on the pilot book that there should be a stalagmite or stalactite? Stalactite cave at the back of the bay, and we think we can already see it, so I'm super excited about this place. It's crazy, sometimes you just escape a swelly place and you end up in a much more stunning one, and all by chance, and I feel like this is one of those times.
We've stumbled across, I think, the most spectacular anchorage we've ever been to. The cliffs around are just insane. Like, I don't know if the camera will really pick it up.
The level of detail is crazy.
Like the rocks are just like crumpled and mangled all over the place. It's amazing.
What did you see on the beach?
Maybe a free fender. I'm going to go retrieve it before lunch.
Might be a lucky day.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna dive on the anchor to make sure it's well dug in. It's not a place where you can afford to drag. It's quite deep all the way out, so we are anchored at about 5 meters, but that equals to maybe being 20 meters from shore. What do you think, Ryan?
I think it's more than that.
It looks really close. I don't know whether it's optical illusion or what, but yeah.
I think it's just because it's a big scary coastline.
It's really scary, but so beautiful.
It's really lovely, this anchorage, but the wind and swell doesn't seem to be changing as it was forecast to. So we're going to have to move on. We're probably going to pop around the corner to a cala called San Vicente, which looks better protected. It's a bit of a shame because we wanted to go ashore and go for a walk and go up on the cliffs and try and look down on the boat from up there.
The other reason why we're leaving is that there's no phone coverage at all here, and to make a passage we really needed an updated forecast, the latest version of it, and a few of them. So yeah, we'll just have to go somewhere else. So that was the anchorage we were hoping to go into, but you can probably not see because it's so far away, but there's breaking waves all over the beach, and there is one yacht in there and it looks very, very uncomfortable, super rolly. We're just thinking there might be a storm in Africa or something, because there's this huge swell going in the opposite direction of the wind and casting crashing waves into there and the bay we were in, which was facing a completely different direction. So it seems like just this big swell is coming from elsewhere and just sort of making it uncomfortable for everyone everywhere. So yeah, we'll have a think about where to go. Okay, third go of the day, Isla Tagomago. We'll see if that's sheltered. Uncomfy as hell.
So we tried most of the anchorages on this side of Ibiza, and none of them really seemed to be sheltered from the, like, there was this kind of like a swell and a chop which are kind of in opposite directions. So we decided we just settle across to Majorca.
We have turned back. The wind was 0. The swell is so crazy. It's just in all sorts of directions and really confused, really big. It's so uncomfortable. We have about 4 nautical miles to go back and we're struggling to make 3 knots. It's just like so weird, so against the forecast. We've never seen anything like it. It feels like all we've learned last year just, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. But hopefully we'll be in an uncomfortable anchorage for the night. How's it going?
It's actually quite nice to be here. It was such a waste of a day. Like, we left this place 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
In search of a more sheltered anchorage. We tried every anchorage on this coast of this, like, east coast of Ibiza, trying to find something that was sheltered. But with that southerly swell, like, everything was worse than here. And then we tried sailing to Majorca and got about 3 miles before we realised that out there the wind is completely dead. So yeah, it was a pretty frustrating afternoon, but I'm glad to be anchored now. And I think it is the right decision in the end, even though we made a whole host of stupid decisions today. I think in the end it's right to be here, hopefully rest up and hopefully have a nice sail to Majorca tomorrow. Hopefully the swell will have died down and there'll be some wind, which would be nice.
It's a beautiful sunrise and the anchorage is finally calm, so we better leave it. We're gonna have take 2 of the passage to Majorca, and yeah, it looks right this time, so hopefully it will go well. It's been a bit of a stressful night because it was quite choppy and I didn't know, but a sailboat anchored right next to us, so Ryan was worried about them. I was worried about bashing into the people behind us because we don't know how much scope they've got, so we didn't sleep very well. But now it all looks really good. So promising start of the day. Brian is making breakfast and I'm just steering out of the anchorage and onto our course to Majorca. The swell is already much gentler, so I have high hopes.
I've managed to temporarily fix the camera, our main camera. I cleared the settings and reinstalled the firmware and it seems to be working alright, but it's a bit flaky and keeps turning itself off and all sorts. So we're going to have to buy a camera as soon as possible really, because vlogging with just the GoPro for us doesn't really work that well. The sound quality is rubbish and stuff. So yeah, that's €600 we could do without spending, but
6.2.
yeah, it's the latest price on Amazon or whatever. But yeah, the other thing is we're going to have to get it delivered somewhere, so that means finding somewhere with like an Amazon locker or something. So it could be a little bit tricky, but hopefully it'll be sorted out soon. So we've been out for about 3 hours. It's 10 o'clock and the wind's still pretty light, but we've got the cruising chute up and we're doing about 3 to 4 knots depending on the wind. So we'll check maybe around lunchtime to see how much progress we're making and how the wind's doing, and then we might end up having to motor to speed up a bit, but I think at the moment we should be in before sunset, so it should be fine.
We dropped the cruising chute, put the white sails up, reefed both the main and the genoa, and because now the wind is quite more consistent, we put the wind vane on as well. And yeah, we're happily cruising along at about 5 knots, so that's really nice. Come on, Ryan!
So our new tuna lure works pretty good. I put a bungee on it because I read on some website that you have a bungee so that when they grab it, it kind of stretches, and the bungee just like ching, snapped. But luckily I tied a rope on there as well, so yeah, managed to bring in this pretty hefty tuna, bigger than the one we caught in Biscay I think. And thankfully this time we've got a fridge so we can keep it all nice and fresh. And when we get to the anchorage we'll see if there's anyone there who fancies a bit of tuna. So the wind's still building. I don't know what time it is, about 3:30. We're about an hour and a half I think from Majorca, but the wind's heading us a bit. We're being blown a bit to the north. Hopefully we can still make it south of Isla Dragonera. If not, we might have to look at a backup plan on the sort of northwest coast of Majorca, which isn't too bad because we're well ahead of time anyway. But I'm hoping that once we get closer to the coast we'll be more sheltered from these seas, and then we'll just be able to go up to the coast and motor down to anchorage.
What are the conditions?
I'd say it's a force 5, maybe force 6 on the beam. The boat's handling it really well, but we're reefed like all the way down and still touching 6 knots sometimes, which is quite fast for this boat. I don't know if it's because the winds are stronger than I feel like they are, or just because the hulls are still so clean, she's still just going really fast through the water. Really fast for us anyway. Some people will probably laugh when we say like 5.5, 6 knots is really fast. But yeah, hopefully I won't get too much more on this because it's getting quite splashy in the cockpit.
Yeah, we got drenched.
Yeah, I got soaked. And the camera, which I've just about managed to fix, got soaked as well. It'll hold out a little bit longer until we can get a new one.
We're almost there. We couldn't film much because it's been super spray. Lots of spray everywhere. We got completely drenched. I had to change my clothes. And then the zip of my waterproof didn't work. It was horrible. But anyway, we're almost there. I think once we get behind these cliffs on the starboard side, we should be a little bit more protected. And hopefully we can motor in because anchorage is down there, but we cannot go so close to the wind to make it through. But yeah, excited to get there and try the tuna and just chill out.
So we tried to anchor outside at Port Anchorage, but it wasn't really very well protected. There was lots of fishing boats and there wasn't really much space anyway, and it was like in 8 meters. So we thought we'd come in and see how much these mooring balls are. And contrary to popular belief, they're only €7.45 for our boat, which is pretty sweet. We were expecting them to be a lot more expensive, but yeah, it's really nice little setting. And I've just filleted the tuna, so we've got a whole shelf in the fridge full of tuna, and we're gonna go get a shower
And take some tuna over to some guys.
Yeah, we met some on the way in. There was some guys on a nice looking boat. We'll take some tuna over to them because there's too much for us to eat all when it's fresh. So yeah, dish out a bit as well.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, then please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd like to thank our Patreon crew who support the production of these videos. If you'd like to support us too, then follow the link to our Patreon page. Don't forget to follow Sailing Kittiwake on Facebook and Instagram for real-time updates. Join us next time as we explore Majorca and head to Port de Soyer, one of the most stunning towns in the Mediterranean.